Nice to meet you again, Naz. How are you?
Thanks, Alex. Thanks for having me back, man. I'm doing good. It's early morning and I'm on my day off from work. So looking forward to having a great day. What about you?
Yeah, yeah, thank you. Everything is good now. It's more or less quiet time in Ukraine, despite very loud weeks before, but now it's more or less good. So, but I'm looking forward with optimism, and I'm happy to see you again in our episode. And I prepared a few questions. And before that, how can you comment on your last progress that can you share some of your success within the last weeks?
Yeah, sure. So from the last time we spoke, actually, well, my biggest highlight was that I secured like my first paying client. So that's really a big win. And then I also secured a speaking engagement. So I'm going to be speaking at an event held by a government agency at the end of this month. So to a group of business owners. And then I have a couple of very interesting relationships building within the business community down here that could lead to more clients and more opportunities as well. So yeah, progress is being made step by step.
Can you explain your outreach process? How do you find leads? How do you find clients? What is your mindset about this?
Yeah, so right now, the client that I got came from Upwork. So regularly I'll go scan Upwork, look at the job listings there, just kind of figure out which ones that I could solve, send out my proposals. I usually make like a Loom video, 2-3 minute Loom video, just showing how I might approach the solution. And then another big area of traction for me in terms of outreach is my warm network. So I'll just tap into my friends of friends, people who I knew from previous programs I've done, and yeah, just let them know what I'm doing with AI.
I think that you have very optimistic mindset and irresistible energy and approach, friendly approach to people. That is combined with your intelligence and your lifestyle and how you treat life and and also the luggage of knowledge that you have from different areas. So it helps you definitely with being proactive. The Loom video for approaching clients with in Upwork, I think is a great idea that I heard from Nick Sarayev videos formerly. It was recommended to use this approach. So I prepared a few questions for you if you're not against this. The first question is about island time versus global deadline. So you joked about St. Lucia. So the 3 p.m. meeting could really start at 4 p.m. or later because everyone sits on easy mode on island time. But how that relaxed rhythm of your location shape the way you set and hit delivery dates when working with international clients who expect real-time responsiveness?
Yeah, so island time is funny because it's kind of during my career sailing, I went to so many different Caribbean islands, and it's very much a common theme throughout the different islands, right? But the people who really rise to success are the people who overcome that inherent nature and rise to like an international standard. So it's really just something you have to take upon yourself. And even though everybody else is going to show up late, you know that the international standard is that when you set a time, you show up on time. So you just have to build really discipline to respect deadlines, respect timelines, and show up as you need to. So that's just what I do. I like to be a few minutes early for things just because I process a lot, I think a lot, so showing up early makes me feel more prepared.
Yeah, that's a good answer. So for me also, I work in the travel industry as an entrepreneur, as a founder of travel agency. So I always I learned that people are always like 90% of time they're late, and I get used to it. But I made a decision that whenever they're late, I will be on time each and every time. And so, but other is out of my control. So that is their problem, not mine.
Yeah.
What about scaling big ideas from a tiny community? St. Lucia's entire population is about 180,000 people. What advantages and hidden friction does such a close-knit market create for an entrepreneur who is aiming to build software that sells worldwide?
So it's interesting because I actually have vivid memories of when I was a child, of having all these thoughts growing up of like, okay, I know I want to do this and that and this. and I'm going to have to leave St. Lucia, explore the world, and like, open myself to bigger opportunities to do it. And then I remember, just as I grew up through my childhood years, starting to get online and starting to realize the potential that we have with, globalization happening, where the whole world is now one global village through the internet. And those thoughts slowly but surely went away, to the point where I didn't even want to leave St. Lucia anymore, because life's so good here. The foreign currency translates so well here. Then I started realizing, okay, I just want to work online in these foreign currencies and be able to translate that to St. Lucia. So when I start to think of scaling, I just always think of the internet, just because that opens me up to the entire world. And then some of the advantages of actually living in a small, tight-knit community is like that whole sense of familiarity and community, because everybody knows, like, you're not that far from making a very strong connection. Like, one person you meet might put you in a network with 10, 20 other people who are very high leverage or high value within a certain community. So having that small, tight-knit feel is an advantage there.
Yeah. So I understand what you say, as compared with Ukraine as well, because the level of life is lower than in Europe or in the United States. But if you work internationally, you work in English market, or just with clients who are working worldwide, it means that you get contracts in dollars, and so it translates very well with Ukrainian hryvnia. And so I found out that I can live here quite a luxury, quite a good life by getting like average American salary. So,
Right.
so that's about the same. We have about the same things. Although some things here are more expensive than in America. For example, cars. You have some disadvantages. Some people used cars they buy in America for like $2,000, and here they sell for $6,000, $7,000. There is a difference there. But overall, it's a good life. Only when the war ends. The only big problem here is the war.
Yeah.
So diversifying a tourism-heavy economy. Tourism drives roughly 80 to 85% of the island's GDP. And where do you see AI opening brand new revenue streams that aren't dependent on visitor numbers?
So, well, one initial point is, for me, the whole thing about tourism being the driver of 80+% of our GDP is something that personally, like, ever since I was a teenager, didn't really sit right with me. I mean, the reality is what it is, but I think we should, like, just from a high level, go back to a place where less of our GDP is dependent on tourism, because COVID showed us exactly what could happen if our borders suddenly shut down and we are not able to, like, sustain ourselves in terms of food and other forms of income that are not dependent on visitors, right? But since the reality is what it is, and again, over these last few weeks, I've started the event I have coming up is directly related to tourism. So it's a whole bunch of accommodation owners. The agency is called the Community Tourism Agency. So they get grants for local accommodation owners to expand their Airbnbs and so on. So I'm going to be speaking to them about how they can use AI and automation solutions to, again, reach that international standard. So I've just been thinking about that a lot in the last couple of weeks, and I realized that there's a lot of things that are being done right now in the tourism industry that are kind of, a few years behind. So we could kind of bring a lot of these tourism businesses up to speed and really use the technology to accelerate the standard, to bring up the standard. And that's one thing I'm working heavily with. I'm working with a business consultant who, this is his main work. He's like the main person responsible for standards of operating in St. Lucia. So he's working with these businesses to get them certified and to just help them bring up their operations. And so that area is an area I see that there's a huge opportunity to make an impact, because if I'm successfully able to help them, that could change the entire landscape of tourism on the island as we know it. So yeah, that's one of the areas I see. It's just really helping them with operational efficiency and hitting that international standard on a consistent basis.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing this. So I'm sure that you have the big plans and understanding how to grow globally. And about in luxury hospitality at this 400 acre golf club that you were talking about, we were talking about last time, managers struggle with cross-department communication and real-time guest transport check-in. But if you had carte blanche to pilot one automation there, what would you build first and why?
So actually, I would design them like a centralized operations hub. Basically that's one of the same things I've been working on, like demos I've been working on for the other tourism clients, is what I would introduce to them. Something that's connected to all the communication channels they have, particularly WhatsApp, where they can track everything that's going on in the operations, from everything across departments, including like transportation, where the guests are, their schedule, what's going on in the golf operations section, what's going on in F&B, like just a centralized dashboard that functions as the hub, and everything just goes to that. Obviously that's something that would be able to be built piece by piece. So it's like a system that you could start small and then grow over time. So that's kind of what I would do.
Yeah, that's if you had this opportunity, I'm sure that the golf club will win a lot by investing in this project. So the next question is about you, from Google Sheets guy to SaaS founder. Friends know you for crafting dashboards in Sheets, even when purpose-built tools exist. What would convince you it's time to ship a standalone SaaS instead of another spreadsheet template? So what is your idea about SaaS products?
Yeah, so I mean, at this point, I've already been convinced that that's the way to go, just because, you know, AI and no code, low code tools make it so accessible. I think, as we mentioned in the last conversation, like I started using Airtable a lot more now, and since they have those built-in interfaces where you can build out these awesome looking dashboards based on the information in the tables, and since we have tools like Lovable that you can just use to build front ends of apps and everything like that. Right now, I'm definitely like I have this little scrapbook where I store ideas. I already have a few ideas for like SaaS businesses or micro SaaS businesses, maybe with WhatsApp as the interface, you know, like cool ways to take tools that already exist or functionalities that already exist and just bring it over to a friendlier interface, maybe through WhatsApp or Airtable or something like that to start.
So my next question about your productivity obsession, and you're fascinated by tools that manage time and money, and how will that personal fixation translate into unique product features users can get elsewhere?
Well, I think my kind of unique combination of experiences, because when I look at the apps that are out there for things like tracking my time and tracking my money, it's like they always have some of what I want, but never everything. And I've spoken to like quite a number of people who have that same issue. There's like the app does it to a certain level, and I guess it's because, you know, most of these apps are built to serve a wide range of people. So they're built for general use, so it might not meet like a certain specific criteria or niche vibe that you might want fulfilled. So I think maybe I could translate that kind of weird desire for specific features, or like maybe a modular element to the things that I built, because maybe my target market might be other tinkerers or other builders like myself, so who might want to heavily customize their solution. So if I could do it in a way that's maybe modular or more customizable, that might give me something unique that's not already existing.
Yeah, great. So that's as always, you have already, I am sure that you had a deep thinking about the different areas that you can apply your expertise and solve real world problems. And what about your expertise from a skateboard shop? Running a skate shop dealership for 4 years taught you inventory, events, and community building. Which of those street level skills still guide you how you price and market digital services today?
Yeah, so definitely the community side and then the marketing side of running my skate shop, because I realized that what really drove a lot of my sales and a lot of new members into my community was content. I would be making content regularly, short form content, like just quick clips for Facebook and Instagram, and then longer videos of like events and entire skate sessions over on YouTube. And then I would even get people coming down to the island from, visitors, tourists who would, be interested in skateboarding, and then they would look up skateboarding in St. Lucia. And I had just conquered like the SEO for that market because I was pretty much the only person doing it. So I would always get messages and comments of people saying, "Hey, we're coming to the island. We want to skate. We're looking for." And I met so many good people like that. So in doing this, I've always been thinking about how I can do the same thing for my AI automation agency. And as you know, we're part of the accelerator. That's a huge part of it as well. I mean, that's what we're doing right now, making content. Definitely the community aspect and the content, because I definitely want to start a community of people down here as well who are into AI and who use the technology in different ways. I've already connected with another leader in one of the huge resorts down here who is the head of IT, and he's very big into AI. I'm going to be interviewing him sometime in early August, and I'm going to use that as a kind of inspiration to younger people who maybe starting to choose what they want to do in their careers, to show them that AI is a great place to start.
So my next question is about leadership qualities. So St. Mary's College pushed both your business and creative instincts. And what leadership habit from those younger school years shows up in your agency meetings? The question is about leadership.
Yeah. So life at St. Mary's College, or my years at St. Mary's College, always taught me to think. Well, it taught me to think for myself. I don't know if that was actually a function of me attending St. Mary's College or if it was everything else around that, but I never like to let myself be swayed too much by other people's perspectives or frames. I like to look at things from people's perspective to get to be able to understand them, but I like to have my own thought process and my own opinions of how I approach things. And I believe it's better to show an example of what to do rather than constantly be telling people what to do. I mean, I guess the way that would show up in my agency meetings right now is like when I'm with a client, I am able to kind of hold the frame and lead the conversation rather than being overtaken or overrun, because sometimes a client might think they know what they want or what they need, but they don't know the technical details, so their idea of what they want and what they need might be off. So being able to be confident and grounded in my thought process and being able to lead them to the right thing and say, hey, you might actually benefit more from this rather than that. So yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, thank you. And continuing from the leadership, I'm going to the risk taking. So how early in life did you start understanding that taking risk is not so risky, is not so fearful, and that you can go entrepreneurial path instead of going to regular education and getting a 9-to-5 job? So can you tell me about this shift? Where did it shift, or you just started with entrepreneurial mindset from your childhood?
Yeah, and for me, it started as early as the age of, I want to say like 12, because at that age, I remember I wanted to be a YouTuber. I wanted to make content, and I saw all my favorite YouTubers making content, getting paid for it, being able to travel, being able to just do reviews of products and be there, like make their own schedule and stuff. Obviously, I saw my parents run their own businesses. So from a very early age, I wanted to be like a business owner. I wanted to be a business owner, and I wanted to be a creator of some kind. It started off with YouTube videos. Eventually, I ended up wanting to do like films and movies. Then I moved to like wanting to do music, which I still do today. So like for me, it started at a very early age. I was just exposed to the right environment and the right content, the right information from the right people to make me realize and see through kind of the veil that society puts over your eyes, that I didn't need to go down a traditional path, and that actually going down a traditional path was not as secure as everybody made it seem. Because even where I work right now, they've just been letting go of people left and right because it's a slow season. They're trying to cut costs. So people have been getting fired almost every week. For the last couple of weeks, people have been getting fired. So actually owning your own business and being your own boss sometimes can be even less risky than getting a traditional job, so to speak.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think that no job is secure, and even with the quick transfer from traditional jobs to AI to data-driven jobs, and many professions are becoming obsolete with the technology, because if you just go in and AI can call better than you, AI can make better predictions, can make better reports, and process data better than you sitting and doing all the even accounting stuff or legal stuff, because AI knows much more instances and cases than you can remember from your books. And my next question is logical from this, about your self-education. How do you continue your growing months? I'm sure that you have a growing mindset. And so how do you nurture your knowledge and expand in your capabilities with self-education?
Yeah, so, well, right now, my biggest source of education in terms of like AI and automation is obviously from the accelerator. So I'm still going through the course modules there. But all throughout my life, from the time I started recognizing, I think it was the first person who really made me understand the importance of self-education versus traditional education was Ty Lopez, the internet marketer, the famous
Yeah,
for
I know
Hell in
Ty
My
Lopez.
Garage.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, people gave him a lot of like flack back in the days for his marketing, but he actually imparted a very strong growth mindset and like thirst for knowledge in a lot of people. I've spoken to a lot of people who Ty was the first person who got them to start reading books, and that was kind of the same for me. He made me realize that if I want to grow, I need to constantly be acquiring knowledge and skills from people who are more successful and smarter than myself. So I started that habit from a teenager. So I've always been into audiobooks. I've always been into investing in online programs and online education. So I think for me, learning is just a lifelong endeavor. I will always do it. I will always have something to study and always have some new skill to learn, whether it be a physical skill or a knowledge skill. So yeah, that's just my approach. It's just to be a lifelong learner.
Yeah, that's I know Ty Lopez, and I subscribe to some of his projects, including they have audio library of famous books, short reviews of famous books. That was like $7 per month, and they use it for maybe for half a year. And also another one for me was the man from New Zealand who is Sam Owens. Before Liam Motley, there was this kind of consulting Sam Owens that I listen a lot to him, and also was influenced by his teachings of how you could approach consulting, and you start growing your expertise and growing rich, because he earned tens of millions per year or something like that. He went from New Zealand to Manhattan, and he shared a lot of different stories, and I think that now he went to more solitary life with his family on the island. Also, he's not so public yet now, but 10 years ago, he was very popular in the consulting space. So my next question is about the technology. So you told maybe, so Google Sheets, Airtable, Make.com. What is your technical stack at the moment, and what combination for your scenarios, for your AI solutions do you use for your projects?
Yeah, so, well, yeah, like you mentioned, Make.com is definitely my go-to at the moment. Although I've been looking at N8N more because they just came out with that MCP that could, generate flows for you just with simple like prompts, right? But of course, I saw Make come out with their MCP just a couple of days ago too, so I have to check that one out. But Make.com, then we have the whole Google suite I use a lot. Airtable, of course. OpenAI I use their API almost in every single flow that I build. But right now, I've been a really liking exploring the WAPI API. So WAPI is an unofficial WhatsApp API, and they offer more features than the actual official Meta WhatsApp Business API. And I've been exploring how I could use that WAPI API to build a lot of my bots and to get more from WhatsApp. So that has been like a really cool addition to my tool stack. And also, one of the other members in the accelerator mentioned FireCrawl to me, which is just a crawling or a scraping service. So that I really like the interface on FireCrawl and the setup there. So I've been exploring how to use that in more of my flows as well.
Yeah.
And one more thing, something that's not really that I still have not started using yet, but I really getting ideas of how I can use it. And the only reason I haven't started using it is because it has more technical setup involved, but it's Mega Upload. So they started a service called S3 or S4 storage, which is basically their version of like an Amazon Web Services type of storage. And I've been looking at how I can use that to like store a lot of the data or media that my flows depend on, and then how I can use different tools to be able to bring them into my scenarios in Make. So yeah, that's kind of an extended list there.
Thank you for sharing your list. And I have been studying for AWS, Amazon Cloud Practitioner, and I did some tests for this exam, but I didn't take the exam, but I passed all the tests maybe half a year ago. So I understand
Nice.
that Amazon has a full suite of products that I learned, a few dozens of them, including very powerful sets for AI, for data management, and for processing, cloud processing. So that was interesting things to learn. So thank you for sharing your list. We're currently making most of our scenarios on Make and NA10. So we use we install NA10 on our local server and use it from there. And also we use the custom Python code to for our chatbots. So the next is from solo operator to mastermind collective. You're currently a one-person service provider, but nurture a local mastermind group. What would trigger you to formalize that circle into your first full-time hires?
So I've always told the people in my mastermind, because sometimes throughout we've been tapping in together for a number of years, and sometimes people will come in and say, oh guys, well, we should collaborate, we should form something together, or we should work on things together. But then I always tell them, for me, the best way to build a collaboration is organically. So trying to force a partnership for the sake of making a partnership because we're friends or because we have the same mindset, to me it's not, it doesn't really make sense, because at the end of the day you want to be partners with someone who complements your skill set. So if we both do the same thing, then us being partners might just be redundant. It should be it should come to a place where you've got this unique skill set and perspective, and I have this unique skill set and perspective, and then we can put those together to create something more powerful than us as individuals. So and we have done small collaborations over the years like that, but I just like things to come together organically. Like right now, one of close friends who's in the mastermind, he's gone very heavily into life insurance. So he sells life insurance, and he's big on building out his own lead gen engine, right? And so he knows that I do the AI automation. So now we've begun talking about a way that we could collaborate, and I could help him build the flow to do the scraping and the cleaning and data enhancing for the leads, and then he can wrap it up in this product, and he has a network of agents and people who would be willing to buy. So we've been talking about how we could get something like that going, and that's just happened very organically. So yeah, that's kind of the way I like to roll.
Okay, yeah, so the collaboration of people who are about the same in qualities and expertise, it may be redundant. So your So your attitude to building a new team is gradual. So you look for opportunities to find people who complement what you already have. And what about you want to turn your journey into a springboard for others who don't even know where to start? And what would be the MVP of that educational platform look like? How would AI personalize it for young islanders? Like, give advice for people to how to start.
So, I mean, the MVP for that would basically be like, don't like use the tools that you have at your disposal. It's crazy how many people I talk to on a regular basis. And I mentioned right now for me, ChatGPT is just a given. So I'm talking to people and I'm just like, ChatGPT. And then some people will look at me like, ChatGPT, what's that? Like, so like people who still haven't heard of ChatGPT, still haven't used ChatGPT, and obviously it's just one of the many chatbots available, as you know. But like it's the biggest one that everybody's talking about. So the fact that there's people that still don't know about it and know that they can use it to help them do tasks and find information and basically replace a Google search. The starting point I would say is to people like get curious, search, like stay up to date with what's going on, ask questions, pay attention to AI. And something I'm looking to do that could form like the first version of where I want to go with like educational resources is the talk I have coming up. I want to record it. I want to record it on video and audio and then start putting clips of that up online to start generating interest from people. And then I also, like I said, I have lined up a potential person that I'm going to interview at the beginning of next month, who I'm also going to take those clips and like, you know, promote it on my social media and share it around so that people can start to see that there's people in St. Lucia who are moving in AI, and then so they can get a little bit of inspiration to get to start and go look into it and so on. So that's kind of my plans forward. Yeah.
So I'm sure you can make a large impact on the life of young generation on your island and around when you continue growing as an authority in the AI space with your products, with your networking and speaking engagement you did mention. So that's great. And what about your mindset? Anything is possible. So you see every obstacle as solvable with enough persistence. How do you keep that optimism grounded so it fuels disciplined execution rather than scope creep?
So for me, messy action is the way to get out of any slump, or to just keep my discipline intact. Whenever I feel like my discipline is waning, or like I don't know what to do next, or I feel stuck, or anything like that, my instinct is to just take an action, because an object in motion remains in motion. That's a universal law, right? Unless acted on by an external force. So for me, it's to just get moving. If I have something to do, I'll just start doing it. Even if I do it wrong, or I do it in an untidy way or whatever, but at least I did it. So afterwards, I can always come back, clean it up, or if I do it in a very small, very insignificant way today, at least I did it. But tomorrow I can come back and I can build on it. And I take the same approach with like fitness, with my business, with studying, anything. If I feel like I don't want to do it today, then I'll just do it to the minimum capacity, and then that keeps me moving at least one step or a half a step. So that's the approach I take. Just always try to move at least a little bit.
The smart approach of getting better, like 1% every day. So in 1 year you will be 18 times better. If you or something like this, this is a quote from James Clear. So this the percentage complex. How to say this? Complex percentage. Compound. Compound percent. So it accrues more and more with time. So now, so what? So something.
The ghosts of education.
Yeah. So. Give and take. I think that you are a giver more than taker. So you make impact to the world without expecting anything in return, but the world will generously give you back after some time. So what are your final words? What you wish to our readers, to whoever watches this podcast now or after 10 years? Because I hope that it will be there as well for a long time. So what about your maybe vibe or last words that you want to share at the end of this podcast?
Actually, it's something that came up in a conversation the other day with a colleague at work. And it's just the fact that, life is both very long and very short, depending on how you look at it, right? You're born against your will. You have to live through, 50, 60, 70, 80 years if you're lucky, 90 if you're really lucky. And then you die at the end of it, meaning you're not going to make it out alive. So the time in between when you're born and when you die, just try to make as much use of it. Don't pursue whatever crazy idea, whatever dream that you can pursue. Try not to take it too seriously sometimes. I know that's easy for me to say, living on a beautiful little island out in the middle of the sea, but sometimes we can take things too seriously and then put this weight on our shoulders that kind of holds us down. Try to live a little bit more lighthearted and just go after life, because life is made for living. It's made for experiencing. So go experience something, make a new memory, and don't die having never lived.
Yeah, thank you. So it's for me, it's important thing to live fully each day, so that each day will be a complete life. So even if you die this day, like tomorrow, then at the end of the day, you say, I have done everything I could do to cherish every moment, to see the smile of my children, to view how the leaves, the flowers, the sky, to see the sunset. So I try to do this as well, so that my life is whether long or shorter, but it will be full each moment. So thank you for this enlivening and optimistic and deep with thoughts interview, because I see that you have deep thinking process about all the problems, about how to move things, and you do the step at every moment of your journey. Thank you for this podcast, Nazz.
Thanks for having me back, Alex, man. Looking forward to doing more and continuing to put out good vibes for everybody to watch, man.
Thank you.